Hello, guys. Welcome to the Pain and Champagne podcast. If this is your first time tuning in, this is a space where we celebrate trials, tribulations, testimony, healing. It is officially 2024. To my listeners that have been here since day one, you know that I haven't been really present on the pod. I explained this before. Life be lifing, and sometimes I feel like I just have to sit on my ideas and sit on the things that are going on in my head just to make sure I'm giving you guys like words that I am fully invested in and words that I truly believe in. I want to make sure that my words are able to resonate. I want to make sure that I'm speaking on things that are super relatable. I want to make sure that I have clarity of all situations before I present them to the world. And ultimately, I just want to make sure that like all of my content is something that is worth presenting. So, with that being said, I don't believe I've dropped an episode since late December. So, this will be our first official episode of 2024. I've had so much stuff go down the past couple weeks. I think this year has been amazing so far. We're only like 3 to 4 weeks in, only a month in, and I feel like every day God is just revealing things to me, things that I need to see. I think He's showing me a lot more through my eyes of discernment than me seeing things through the flesh. I feel like everything that's led up until where I'm at right now this year has been for a bigger purpose. I was able to bring in the new year with some great friends, great people, my family as well, friends are well. Overall, I feel good. I wanted to come back on the pod with a positive attitude and just like a full understanding of what I first wanted to bring to you in this first month of the year. I feel like this is a super transitional point for a lot of people. I feel like this is a time where you're kind of still establishing your goals or working towards your goals at peak. So I want to make sure that whatever I'm about to give y'all is something that is going to help you get through this year and just help you fester positivity for yourself, help you heal, help you grow, help you build healthy conversations, build genuine connections with people. I want you guys to be able to relate to me and resonate to my words. With that being said, I feel like this year there has been an extreme highlight for me when it comes to friendships and who I'm surrounding myself by. I want to say the end of last year was extremely eye-opening for me as far as friendships go. And I feel like as the years and the months go on, God is kind of just revealing to me how important it is to have people around you that are like-minded and surrounding yourself with people that can help you get to where you want to be in life. You don't want to be around anybody that represents your old self or anything that you used to be into that you're trying to either be delivered from or grow out of. So I think part of me going into this new year, I've made some great new friends, and I've been building my old ones, my old healthy, genuine friendships up, rekindling friendships with people that I haven't spoken to in years or hung around in years. And that's been super important for me. I feel at peak. I feel good. On today's episode, I kind of wanted to just talk about friends turning to enemies. I'm sure everybody listening to this pod has had an instance where you've fallen off with a friend and it has just been unreconcilable and it's just been something that you just can't come back from, and either you've gone your separate ways or you guys have become enemies. I really just want to talk about that space, what it's like for both parties involved, and what it's like for people around you, mutual friends, your own personal friends, just kind of navigating that. Friends, like I said earlier, friends are so important. Who you surround yourself by can ultimately determine where you will end up in life. So, when it comes to going from being tight knitted friends with somebody to being complete enemies, I think that's very telling about the dynamics of the friendship, about who you both are individually, what's important to them, where you've always stood with them. It definitely is telling as to where their morals lie. For starters, I kind of want to just explore friendship deterioration. When I say deterioration, I just mean either little things leading up to a friendship becoming spoiled, or just major differences in you guys' character that just does not click. Major differences in your character will prevent you from being friends with somebody. And you may try it at first and it may seem successful at first, but it may not be something that's, worth keeping. I would say some main reasons as to why friendships may begin to deteriorate. Just overall, you guys having different morals and different principles that you stand on. Nobody has gone through the same experience as each other, word for word. Just because you stand on loyalty and respect and honesty does not mean the next person does. Just because, you stand on integrity does not mean the next person does. We were all raised differently. We were all experiencing different things, growing up and in our adult life. So, with that being said, when your moral compass isn't really aligned with the people that you're surrounding yourself with, you may find yourself either one, overcompensating, going the extra mile for people that are not going the extra mile for you, or you might see you guys clashing and not really getting along the way friends should. Ultimately, you not sharing the same principles and morals as somebody you're close friends with could lead to a lot of bigger issues and bigger discussions. Another reason I would say friendships deteriorate is, sometimes there's just underlying jealousy. Jealousy is something that's extremely hard to spot. It's extremely hard to navigate through. Sometimes you don't know if you're reading the room correctly. So, sometimes you have to get in a second opinion. Sometimes that can get messy because, people like to run back business. So, navigating jealousy or envy in a friendship is another, major reason why friendships begin to deteriorate. I know me personally, one of the examples that I have was, I was extremely close friends with a girl at a point that I don't really know if it was like telling about her insecurity she had for herself, and the amount of, self-love she lacked, but for some reason this person, kind of got off on the fact that she could entertain or talk to her friends like either significant others or exes. Extremely weird because this was somebody that, I was extremely close to. And I never kind of found out if it was, an envy thing or if this was her way of kind of coping with her own insecurities, or it could have been a combination of both, or her intentions were always malicious and she never really liked me. I never got to figure that out, but I know it's definitely one of those reasons. With me figuring that out required a lot of, reflection, and we'll get into that in this episode too. How to reflect back on your friendship and just kind of pull out the lessons that you learned and everything, how to spot the red flags, and how to move forward. Another scenario I had was a friend that, seemed to me as if she was always jealous whenever I would, find a significant other or partner. It was always an issue. I don't know if she was extremely possessive, or again, if it was envy or jealousy, or, if she just was overcompensating for her insecurities that she had for herself. But she was very possessive over me. She was never really happy for me when I was involved with somebody. It was always her leading with negativity and not really supporting me, making me feel bad about my decisions. And ultimately, these are what led to some fallouts. And I wouldn't call these girls my enemies, but I think deep down in my heart that we will probably never be friends again. Um, and if I saw them, I don't think we would ever say hi to each other again. I would never sit and badmouth and talk bad about them, but I will speak the truth whenever it comes around. So if you want to call that an enemy, so be it. But, I don't consider these girls my enemies. I would just say, like, we're just two people that, we're extremely involved in each other's lives at a point, and kind of outgrew each other. I feel like the biggest part when it comes to friendships deteriorating and things just going left, there can be so many outside people involved in the breakup of a friendship, or two people not being able to rekindle whatever bond they had before. For people on the outside or mutual friends, it can be extremely confusing having to pick either a side, or who to speak to, when to speak to them, who to hang out with, who not to hang out with. I think ultimately, me as a person, if you ever experience any sort of adversity when it comes to your friendships, you should do your due diligence as an adult to kind of just make sure that nobody on the outside is being affected by whatever baggage you have going on within your friendship. I also think that as mature adults, we need to understand that there's appropriate times for when you want to hold your mutual friend accountable for associating themselves with somebody that either is your enemy or that you're no longer cool with. I think for me, there's certain boundaries that a person has to cross in order for me to be like, you know what, this person did this to you. And because they did that, I don't want anything to do with them. If it's something as small as, rumors or arguing over men or things like that, those are things that I will choose not to involve myself in, just for the simple fact that there's so many bigger things that could be argued about in a friendship. There's so many bigger things that could truly break a friendship. And if you're choosing to let it be rumors or gossip, and if you're choosing to let it be a man or a woman, I don't want to be involved in that. As women and as adults, there's bigger fish to fry, and we don't need to be going there. We're already, women already kind of have it harder in society as it is. We don't need to be making that worse on each other by arguing about, significant others or partners, unless there's some sort of violation or some sort of blatant disrespect. There's nothing I really want to do with anything like that. You want to beef with her over him, that's you guys' business. I don't want anything to do with that. And as adults, I think we need to learn how to be a little bit more mature and more appropriate and not put our friends in the position to pick a side. Because ultimately, like, if you love these people and if you value these people, you would never want to give them an ultimatum like, do this or this. Because ultimately, when you initiate that ultimatum, all the genuine feelings and the genuine love, the genuine respect kind of goes out the door, because now you're trying to stick with me out of a place of fear and out of a place of me being backed up against a wall. So it's like, how could you actually love me if you don't grant me the space and the opportunity and the respect to make my own decision and figure out who I want to speak to? I would feel like anybody that puts me in an ultimatum or puts me in a situation to where I have to pick sides does not truly love me and does not truly care about the things that I want out of life. It's kind of like, I understand that you have your situation going on and you don't agree with this person, you don't get along with this girl, you're not cool with this girl, but ultimately she didn't do anything to me. So why would I ever have to pick a side? Now, don't get me wrong, there are certain instances where I will not entertain somebody just because of something else that they did to somebody. But like I said, this is extreme measures. If you absolutely violated this person, if you absolutely disrespected this person, if you're bullying this person, those are just things I can't stand by. So in that case, I will most definitely pick a side. I don't stand for bullying. I don't stand for liars and manipulators. I don't stand for gaslighting. So, like I said, everybody's different. Ultimately, if you love your friends, do not ever put them in a position to where they feel like they're in an ultimatum about picking sides between you and somebody that you're quote unquote beefing with. It's not cool. It completely diminishes all the genuine connection that you have with people. And ultimately, if you valued your friend, you would never put them in a position like that. And that's point blank, period. I want to kind of navigate loyalties when it comes to going through a falling out or, having a friend become an enemy. When friendships go bad, it can be so hard to kind of just figure out where loyalty lies. Sometimes you go through a period where you don't know whether you want to reach out to this person or talk to this person or hang out with this person or be around this person, and you don't know how to take that. Some people just don't know how to initiate that conversation, and you don't know whether or not this person is talking bad about you. You don't know whether or not, this person is just needing space or if they're cutting you off. Sometimes it can be hard to kind of like draw the lines, and the lines can be very blurred when a friendship goes sour. I've always been the type of person to initiate the conversation of like, hey, what are we doing? Do you want to talk this out? I think that's the best way of going about things. Otherwise, you will find yourself trying to kind of put pieces together in your head, and you never really want to assume other people's opinions and voices get involved. That is how things just get absolutely worse. I would say the best way of navigating through loyalties and where you stand with each other while all of this is going on is just having an open conversation with your friend, as well as people on the outside. Like, it can be hard getting through a space as a third party and somebody that's witnessing something. If you're being given an ultimatum and you're still choosing to hang out with both people on both sides, it can be extremely hard to navigate that space and to get through that space swiftly without damaging one of the friendships in the process. I would say the best way of resolving this is just having genuine open communication. And I just want everybody to hear this and hear this clearly. If this person loves you and if this person respects you, they are going to reach out and have that open communication with you, that open conversation with you. Hey, I'm feeling away because you're still hanging out with this girl. Or, hey, I'm feeling away because, you're still associating yourself with these people, and, I just can't get down with them. If they love you and if they care about you and if they respect you and they value you, they're going to reach out to you and have that discussion. And anybody that does not truly value your friendship. Anybody that feels, and this goes for friendships, relationships, family members, anybody that feels like the bond is worth saving, they're going to reach out to you, they're going to talk to you, they're going to try to mend that. And if they don't, you need to know that they do not truly value what you guys have. Honestly, that is my biggest piece of advice when it comes to navigating loyalties in a situation like this. Just be upfront, be honest, be genuine. Even if you don't want to be friends with this person anymore, even if you're like, hey, you're still kicking it with people I don't get down with, have that open communication. Do not allow things to sit and fester. Ultimately, that can lead to like an overboil and things just becoming way bigger than what they need to be, just because, as adults, we don't know how to be direct. And it's not to say you don't know, not even to say you don't know how to be direct, but we're choosing to be passive about the situation. We're taking the lazy way out. We're allowing the friendship to go completely south at this point. So it's like, just take the mature route out and just have that conversation. Hey, I'm really not with the fact that you're still speaking to these people. I'm going to take a step back. Or, hey, I noticed that you're still talking to them and I feel a way about it. I want to talk about it. These conversations are what's going to either help save your friendship or, just establish where the line is being drawn. Ultimately, people are not mind readers, and if you do not tell them, 9 times out of 10 they do not know. So I would say when it comes to navigating loyalty, just being open, honest, and genuine. And I pretty much say this in every episode. Being open and honest and genuine and just communicating would solve so many people's problems. I understand sometimes we can't come up with the words, and sometimes we just don't have, the capacity to sit and have these conversations. But, just like really learning yourself and just sitting back and like kind of just figuring out, how you want to go about things and how you want to word things, and not just allowing things to, boil over and become bigger situations is it can change your life. Like, just being upfront and being open and just communicating well can change so many things for you in your relationships with family members, friends, in your work environment. Everything can change once you learn how to communicate efficiently and effectively. I know for me, I've witnessed friendship fallouts, and I'm actually currently witnessing one like now in real time. It's been going on for a couple months now. And I want to say there's actually so many people on the outside that are involved in this fallout, that it's now like just kind of trickled down into like everybody. Like, everybody's dealing with the backlash of this fallout. And it's, of course, over things that are unnecessary, that don't need to be going on. Um, and I really do think in a mature, level headed conversation, things can easily either be squashed or not squashed, but everybody can move on. But I don't think that will happen. I just want to speak as somebody on the outside looking in and being involved in the situation right now. I just want to say it's extremely aggravating. It's extremely aggravating and extremely draining to sit and watch things kind of just like crumble just because of like people not being able to have those conversations and people not being able to just be honest with themselves. Sometimes people are selfish, sometimes people are self-centered, sometimes people lie, sometimes people manipulate to get what they want. Sometimes people tell one-sided stories, no tea, no shade, but like it's the truth. And ultimately, the more we sit and apply these memes that we repost in Instagram pictures and on stories, the more things could probably be solved. As a third party watching all of this go down, like I said, it's draining. It's aggravating. Nobody ever wants to have to pick sides, but it does get to a point to where like you feel like you have no choice but to pick a side. Emotionally, it takes a toll on you because now it's not only affecting the people I'm cool with, it's affecting this girl who's also our friend, another girl who's also our friend, three other guys that are also our friends. Like, and it just becomes so much. It's so much manipulation, it's so much gossip, so much back and forth. He said, she said, and everything can just be diminished through a conversation and through just open, genuine communication. But that's likely not to happen. I would say when it comes to going through something like this, just talk to your friends. Like trying to cope with like the emotional baggage and like just the feelings of like being stuck in this crossfire with two people that are having a fallout. Just talk to each other because nobody's going to truly understand what's going on, like the people in your circle. Talk to each other, share experiences, tell your friends how you feel, like, and just go from there. Surround yourself with people that support you, that love you, that align with the things you want out of life. And, just communicate. Use your backbone, use your community, vent, get your feelings out. It's very time consuming and it takes up a lot of your energy having to be in the middle of turmoil. Sometimes it can be extremely hard trying to communicate with somebody that you're having a falling out with. Like I said, I think in-person communication is most effective just because you can fully hear each other's tones. You can fully feel the energy in the room. You can read the room correctly as opposed to over the phone, via text or, via FaceTime. You can't really sit and have that genuine communication with somebody. Um, I think it's super important to just like navigate everything respectfully. Like it is okay for somebody to not be your cup of tea or someone to have wronged you and for you to still respect that person. Like I don't like what you did and I don't respect what you did, but I respect you as a person and on to the next. Like not everything has to end in you bad mouthing the person, making them feel bad about themselves, trying to make yourself seem superior to somebody else. Like, not everything has to end that way. There are higher roads, and you should be taking them at this big age. If you're unsuccessful in creating, communication channels with this person, then maybe it's time to let go. Like I stated earlier in the episode, every time you go through something like this, a breakup, a friendship breakup, you should be sitting after the fact, whether it's 2 weeks after, 3 weeks after, a year later, 6 months later, you should be sitting and asking yourself, what are some things that I learned while I was here in this space? You should always be extracting lessons from whatever experiences you went through in this friendship relationship. Whether your friendship ended because of jealousy reasons or whether it ended because of disloyalty, there are certain things that you can take away from that. If you went through some sort of period of envy or jealousy, you now know how to spot the signs of one of your friends being jealous of you or envious of you. If it ended in disloyalty or dishonesty, you now know how to handle a situation where somebody is being dishonest or disloyal towards you. You now know how to have those conversations. And if you didn't handle it the best way, you now know how not to handle it in the future. From the experiences that I've gone through, I've always tried to have some sort of ending conversation with somebody that I knew I was never going to rekindle with. One that's coming to my head right now, I kind of just sent a long text, just respectfully, not calling names, not cursing. I kind of just sent a long text about how I was feeling and what was going on in my side, on my in my truth. And when you're honest and you lead with respect, people can't do anything but accept that. There's no combating that. Like, this is the way I'm feeling. You could never tell me I'm wrong for feeling the way I'm feeling. And this is what I'm choosing to do. I'm choosing to take a step back because this is how I felt. Whether it be through phone, in person, a text, I think having that closing statement and kind of just either blocking the number or just not responding anymore is a great way for me to, finally just let go of that situation. I've also been through situations where the friendship kind of just gets weird and we're like, all right, there's no conversating through this. And in that situation, we kind of just stop talking to each other. And there's nothing wrong with that. Everything is handled differently depending on the people involved. Me being somebody that has been through friendships and relationships that, have turned into me unfortunately gaining enemies on the back end, I feel like I can help other people navigate this space. I've tried to be a great friend when it comes to my friends going through stuff like this because it can be like borderline traumatizing thinking like, hey, I was so extremely close with this person, and now me and this person cannot even be in the same room without it either being extremely awkward or like an outward problem. So I would say just having a genuine support system behind you while you're going through all of this is so incredibly important. Family members, your parents, your grandparents, other friends that may know your situation and what you're going through is so important to have when you're going through something like this, because you want to have somebody that knows the ins and outs of you and that knows the person that you are, because sometimes things turn sour. People say things they don't mean. Some people state opinions that don't necessarily feel good, and it's important for you to have people that actually know you and that can testify and let you know and give you that reassurance like, hey, this person may not have been your cup of tea, you may not have been theirs, but you're still valued and you're still loved. And that is so important. And I will continue to say this in every episode that I talk about friends and relationships and friendships. Who you have around you is so important. Who you have around you, who you allow in your space, who you allow in your day to day routine is so important. It molds you into the person that, you ultimately want to be. If you're not paying attention to who is in your circle, then, everything can fall apart in one conversation. If you're not paying attention to who's in your circle, things can be easily manipulated by people that shouldn't have access to you. I say that to say, continue to use discernment, have good people around you. It's important to seek positive influences when you're going through things like this. So just make sure your friends are supportive. Some people fuel the fire, some people enjoy the drama, some people make things worse, and they may love you, but some people enjoy gossip, they enjoy the drama, they enjoy the negativity. So it's just important to have people around you that are supportive and have more of a positive mindset when you're going through something like this. Because, like I said, it's traumatizing. Sometimes friendship breakups and, fallouts are more traumatizing than relationships, because when a relationship fails, you go to your friends. When a friendship fails, who do you go to? Ultimately, the month of January, the top of this year, friendships have been super, super pressing for me. I've made a couple new friends since the beginning of the new year. And I feel like I'm in such a good spot with the people that I have in my close vicinity and in my circle. This is probably the best I've ever felt about the people that I have around me. And I just wish the same for everybody listening to this. I hope you're able to use discernment. I hope you're able to ask God to remove the people out of your life that are not for you. As much as it may hurt, ultimately, this is what you need in order to, tap into your fullest potential and be the best version of yourself. I encourage you guys to have positive conversations about friendship fallouts and to kind of just influence each other to just be the bigger person and be better people because of this. Sometimes you will run into people that your parents have always tried to warn you about. And there's nothing wrong with that. Trials and tribulations, but you need to learn how to navigate your way out of that. If not the first time, definitely the second. I hope this pod can kind of just let you know that there are other people that are going through things like this. It can be extremely tough being a third party in a friendship fallout, especially if it's over things that are extremely minute and, problems and issues that could be solved with open communication. But ultimately, surround yourself by people that, positively influence you, that make you feel good, that, want the best for you, that genuinely love you, that can listen to you. I encourage you guys to take steps into being the best version of yourself for the people around you. You want to be a friend that, people feel lucky to have. You want to be a friend that people view as a blessing. And in order to be that person, you have to put in the self work. You have to, make sure that you're doing what you can to be, just be somebody of character and of integrity. Be honest and open and just make people feel good. I feel like this was such a good opening episode for the year. I know that, everyone has goals set for this year. I know everybody, is probably really still in goal mode and grind mode. Whatever goals you set, just know I'm rooting for you. You got this. I hope that you guys are able to just rock this year. I hope everything that you have set for yourself comes to fruition. Make sure you have people around you this year that are supporting you and that love you. I think that is the first step. We're doing so much work on ourselves these days. I feel like we also have to pay attention to who else is around us, because that is probably one of the biggest stepping stones that's going to help you reach your goals this year, is being around goal oriented people, people that are like minded, people that appreciate you, appreciate your process, appreciate the versions of you that, shouldn't, or, you wouldn't necessarily appreciate. I hope this message resonates with you. I hope you guys are doing well in your first month of 2024. I'm so excited for what's to come this year. I've been working really hard on trying to just keep the brand genuine and keep whatever words I'm putting out genuine for you guys, making sure that whatever I'm speaking on is heavily on my heart, praying about my thoughts and, my outlines and, things that I want to share with the world, because ultimately my voice is being used right now. So I want to just make sure that everything just aligns with my purpose and what I need to be doing. You can follow us on all streaming platforms and all social medias at Pain to Champagne Pod or Podcast. You can also catch me live in action on YouTube. We are also on TikTok. You can catch me on there spilling the tea. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Pain to Champagne Pod. It is a wrap.